Hi everyone, I'm Eric,
And I'm Christopher.
and we're Grow For Me Gardening. Fall is a great time for planting.
And for beautiful color.
Today we are adding in some fall perennials to our shade garden.
And giving you a little peek at some of the mid-October color.
Welcome to our garden here in Zone 5B/6A, Upstate New York. We have some planting to do. We want to get some perennials in the ground in our shade areas. But before we do that, Christopher and I wanted to give you a really quick overview of our mid-October color that is starting to form in our garden. And I wanted to start us right here with our Gatsby Pink Oak Leaf Hydrangea. Check out that color. It's just starting. One of the reasons I love this shrub is because the foliage is big, it's got great texture, and then in the fall you get this beautiful purpley red color. I think this one's pretty far along, Christopher, if you want to show a good preview of what the entire shrub is going to be covered in. This leathery red burgundy color. But come on back here, because this Brandywine viburnum has also started to turn color. You can see it's starting way there at the top. So I'm going to step in here, pull it down for you. Even the veining turns pink on this. How cool.
It is so cool. It's a similar color, but this one's just more of a shiny leaf. I love this.
And it's got red and blue berries on it, which you can see are already getting nibbled up by the birds. Limelight Prime is in its prime color-wise. Luckily, it blooms on new wood, so we can go ahead and cut those blooms, bring them inside and decorate with them for fall. And then, Christopher, look at this grass, the pink.
Yeah, this is Twilight Zone Little Blue Stem. I adore this grass, and it's pink and purple and all kinds of colors in there. It's really nice.
Up top, you can see the Eastern Redbud. It's starting to turn gold. Very pretty. Our Eastern Redbud, the foliage is green during the year and then it turns gold in the fall. Our Weeping Ruby Falls Redbud has ruby purple foliage during the year, but then turns green in the fall.
Yeah, it made us, the first year we had this, we didn't know what was going on because the leaves were turning green, but that is the fall color on the purple foliage redbud. This is our Princeton Century Ginkgo, a tree known for very vibrant yellow fall color. So it's on its way, it's getting some of its yellow, and we have this kind of planned out in a spot where eventually there'll be layering of a red foliage tree that has not even started turning yet. But this yellow is so pretty on these, what do you want to call these? Like, I always think of them as mermaid tail leaves on the ginkgos.
Yes.
Like they're just gonna float away. Over here is a Black Hawk's blue stem, a bigger version of that Twilight Zone. Look at how intensely colored this foliage is. The stems themselves and the fronds are all this dark purple. I love this so much. I think we should probably put some more in the garden. Over here, the jewel of the back of the berm right now is the Opening Day Viburnum, giving us a burgundy red and a little bit of that red in the veining as well. I love this plant. And then I'm gonna crisscross and run back over here, the Midnight Sun Weigela. We have our little hedge of 3 of them. This is the reddest thing I think we have in the garden, Eric.
It's so pretty, and I love it with this foliage of the dianthus.
Yeah, this is something we just put in recently from our perennial order. And behind this is the Aronia called Snowfire. It has its berries, and it is starting to change. It will be this color eventually. So that's going to be another really fiery addition to this section of the garden.
Also shining right now, Little Lime Punch Hydrangea. Check out that gorgeous faded fall color. It's transitioning to this beautiful antiqued pinky red. But behind it, and I love this combination, is the Berry Heavy Gold Winterberry. It's got bright yellowy gold berries on it. I'm really happy with how many berries are on it this season.
It's very heavy.
Well, I think the best view in the garden right now is from the air. We are still plugging away at what is left of these perennials, and today we're updating the shaded garden area on the east side of the home. We have some perennials that perform okay, but we're going to replace them with perennials we know that perform extremely well.
This area that we want to tackle has become much more shady over the last couple years, with this Hetzy juniper growing and now the lush generous gardener rose on the Gothic arch. Below it we have traditional lady's mantle in a big swoop here. It has not performed exactly how we want it to. It can get a little bit messy, and frankly this area is just a big green blob. So we need to get in here with some texture, some color, to give it a little bit more personality as you're walking through something a little more welcoming. So things we know we're going to be keeping: Empress Wu hosta that have gotten woo big, and then we have the Boom Chocolata geranium that
they're going to sleep.
They're going to sleep. They're done. They're finished. The Dandyman color wheel rhododendron that will eventually fill forward a little bit and get bigger. There's some ferns tucked under, some ajuga spreading itself, as well as a drinking gourd hosta and a Virginia right here. There may be a second Virginia on the side. We'll see when we get in there. But this area needs a little bit of love. So let's go and take a look at the plants we're going to be working with. Here we have our little assortment of plants. The main feature really is the shadow tag Heucherella, which is pretty much full size.
I love the texture and
Yeah.
interest. Similar to the lady's mantle.
Very similar. It just has a little bit more depth in its veining, a little bit more interesting. It will put out blooms. The plant's gotten so big it's eaten the tag. I did want to see what color the blooms were. It's either going to be cream or pink, and either way, that's going to work for us. It's a really nice plant. We'll also be adding in the red rover Heucherella. Also a nice deeply lobed leaf. I like this. I don't know why. It makes me think it's very woodland, or it kind of looks like frogs. Doesn't it kind of look like a frog? Really pretty red color. And then we are switching it up. We're not going to do the dressed up prom dress. We're going to do Primo Pistachio Ambrosia, because these kinds of leaves, I wanted something that was a little less frilly, a little wider kind of leaf. Mm-hmm. And the Pistachio Ambrosia is going to give that nice chartreuse punch. And then we have this hosta. It's Hudson Bay. I think it's always important with a hosta in particular, look on the tag to see this is a 24-inch wide hosta. Because if you plant a small little Empress Wu, you're going to end up with a 50-inch wide hosta. So always check the size of hostas, even if they're deceptively small in the planting can.
We have cleared out all of the old lady's mantle, and we are working with this drinking gourd hosta to kind of build off a trio of hostas by adding in the Hudson Bay and what's the other one, Christopher?
Hope Springs Eternal.
Hope Springs Eternal. They're similar looking, but one is creamier and one is like a more blue or green.
I believe you're right.
But similar vibe. Then we have a quintet of golden foliage. This is actually, we are going to mix together the prom dress and the Pistachio Ambrosia again, or the Ambrosia Pistachio.
It's our favorite.
Love that. I did, while we were here, just limb up the pagoda dogwood quick because we knew it was going to have to be done. And that'll be fine. The best time to limb up trees is when they're young. It's when they're the most resilient to these cuts. Coming forward is a hedge of the Heucherella, and then just a little pop of red over here with the red rover. And so now all we got to do is get them in the ground.
That was a very random rainfall that we were not expecting to happen, but we have successfully put the plants into the ground. We have the hedge of the shadow tag at the front of the border, giving a nice fluffy texture. The pop of the Primo Pistachio Heuchera mixed with the dressed up ball gown Heuchera, then the Hope Springs Eternal and Hudson Bay hosta to tie in with the drinking gourd hosta. And lastly, the 3 Red Rover Heucherella.
I'm really happy with it, and I really anticipate replacing this Limetime Coleus here with part of our Sun King Aurelia that we're going to divide.
I think that's going to be a really nice addition to that spot. Just some height, some fullness, and then again, pulling the chartreuse over. So we're getting that repetition of color and texture. And in this case, mostly greens. But
it's true. And it's great because we planted in the fall, we can see how large that Empress Wu Hosta is. Because in the spring, if we had waited, we would not have remembered how large it gets. And I guarantee that some of these shadow tags would have ended up a little too close to it.
I agree. I think this gives them nice breathing room for all of the plants. We know the hostas will get fuller, but there is a general idea of room for them to grow. And I think hostas always look good when they're kind of mushed together, especially when they're different. So I think this is a nice little fall shade area.
I'm really happy with it. Thank you so much for joining us today as we did some fall planting
and took a look at some fall color.
Again, I'm Eric.
And I'm Christopher.
And we're Grow For Me Gardening.
Thanks for growing with us.